Ladies and gentlemen, I just need to sit here and apologize for what I have not paid enough attention to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They've got my attention now.
Chet Holmgren set it up for himself.
That's something we practice on the playground. They don't have to turn the ball over. They make the right pass every time. They make the right read in space.
Daigneault might have a case for best coach in the league, though.
Everybody knows that they're legit title contenders.
So last season, maybe you remember, maybe you don't, we dove deep into the Thunder's dynamic offensive system, which some were calling the most interesting in the NBA. And with another year of chemistry and continuity, along with their young players just flat out getting better, and one pretty important addition, here's the sequel. And it's not just the most interesting anymore. It's maybe the best? Now, context time. Offense across the league is way up. And I mean way, way up. In fact, buckle up for this one. The Thunder have the fourth best offense of all time, but have the fourth best offense in the NBA this season. There are a lot of theories as to why. Maybe it's some rule-related things. Maybe it's the prioritization of efficiency and analytics. Maybe it's the three-point tilt of the league. Maybe it's the absurd pace teams play at now. Or maybe just the players as a whole are way better. I don't really have a great guess on that quite yet, but within the framework of the NBA today, the Thunder are standing tall among the top offenses in the league.
It's like poetry in motion.
So when we talk about best offense, it's kind of a relative thing. What I'm interested in, though, is the sustainability element of it. The efficiency-based model of the Thunder, the transferable component to higher stakes games, and just, for the lack of a good way to put it, the attractiveness of it.
So gorgeous.
It's fun to watch OKC play. And for fans of the team that have watched the Thunder for a while, it's a different brand of basketball too than what we saw in years past. For example, the Thunder have had 19 games with 30 or more assists this season, the most they've had in a season ever, topping their previous best of 11, which they set last season. And oh, by the way, as of the moment that I'm saying this, there are still 28 games left in the season. They've set their franchise record with 41 assists in 2023, and then tied it in a 62-point win over the Blazers a year later. And in that game, Josh Giddey led the way with 12 assists, but no one had more than 5. It was just everybody assisting everybody. So yeah, like I said, fun to watch. Basically, all season, OKC has been number 1 in field goal percentage and number 1 in three-point percentage. They play with absolute ruthless efficiency. Its most used lineup, their starting 5, is shooting almost 55% collectively since Christmas. And as a team, the Thunder had a stretch of 10 consecutive games shooting over 50% from the field, the longest streak in the NBA since 1993. It might seem, on the surface, like this is just about the addition of Chet and his absurd two-way talent with his already elite shooting and finishing ability. But it's really about the structure the Thunder have built to be able to amplify a rookie like Chet when he stepped into the starting 5. The fit was seamless, but why was it so seamless? In part, yes, because Chet is such a team-minded kind of player, as we covered here, but also, that's just because the way the Thunder play ball. Again, so much of this has been a year-over-year thing for OKC, stacking elements one at a time to reach breakthrough moments that became breakthrough stretches that have become breakthrough seasons. It started with more rhythm, less patterns, and evolved into water flowing back and forth with defense and offense complementing each other, and has continued into the movement-based, pass-heavy, cutting, driving, shooting infinity gauntlet it is now. And by the way, this is still officially the second youngest team in the NBA, with almost all of its core pieces 25 years old or under. For a fourth straight season, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is number 1 in drives per game. And not coincidentally, the Thunder, for a fourth straight season, are as a team number 1 in the league in drives per game. That's a fundamental part of the offense. They attack downhill toward the rim, always trying to put pressure on the paint to either score They're number 3 in points in the paint, or force a collapse. And when the defense does cave in, the Thunder kick to an open shooter or to another drive-minded, versatile handler that then takes on a secondary attack who tries to touch the paint and maybe score, or kick to a shooter, or kick to another drive-minded, versatile handler. You get the idea. It's basically basketball inception. One quirk to all of this is the Thunder's love of non-traditional pick and rolls. They were number 1 in the league in small pick and rolls last season. Guards screen for guards all the time. Players invert positions, with someone like 6'4" Cason Wallace or 6'6" Aaron Wiggins becoming de facto power forwards in a screen and roll, or camping out in the dunker spot, while 7'1" Chet Holmgren spaces to the corner or even handles the ball up top. Part of this is intended to disrupt defensive communication and coverages, with guards unaccustomed to making an on-the-fly call-out to ice or drop or whatever, but it's also just the controlled chaos of putting defenses in a scrambled confusion over who is doing what. And by the time you're trying to sort it out, Wiggins is back cutting you for a layup. Ben Falk of Thinking Basketball did a tremendous breakdown of this a couple months ago, and it's definitely worth checking out. Some of that was out of necessity last season, as the Thunder played non-traditional a lot with small ball lineups, with Kenrich Williams starting at center quite a few games. But even with a more traditional big in Chet, OKC is still one of the tops in the league in small screening. They've just now added the dynamic of a lob option plus deadly pick and pop combination, which seems to work quite well. But you still see it a lot every game: an SGA Isaiah Joe 2-man game, a Jalen Williams SGA 2-man game. And the way OKC does it is with precision and speed. Coach Mark Daigneault explained the philosophy like this in a recent article: system fundamentals across the board. So we're teaching our 5s how and when to cut. We're teaching our guards how and when to screen. We're not siphoning out skills to positions. The Thunder prioritized space and quick decisions. Their personnel was meticulously, thoughtfully assembled behind the simple idea of knowing how to play, with the ability to pass, shoot, and dribble at every spot. Whoever the ball finds, that player needs to make a choice quickly: shoot it, pass it, or drive it. But you can't just do it all one way. OKC also have 2 of the top 3 ISO scorers in the league: Jalen Williams and SGA. They both are certified bucket getters, with SGA with his slippery craft work, Dub with his more brute force. And both are dynamic, willing passers, averaging career highs in assists. They are 3-level scorers and are especially prolific in the mid-range, one of the lost arts of the game. SGA is number 1 in the league in buckets per game from 10 to 14 feet and does it on almost 55% shooting. For a point of reference, that's 5 percentage points higher than one of the best mid-range players of all time, Kevin Durant. Kawhi Leonard is at 49%, Joel Embiid at 47%. And by the way, J-Dub takes about 2.5 fewer a game from that range than SGA, but he's actually at 55.1%. OKC stays mostly out of the long 2 range, taking the 10th fewest in the league, while still ranking in the top 10 from there in percentage. So translated, they avoid one of the least efficient shots in the league, while still being pretty efficient from there when they do take them. What I'm getting at here is the variety of ways the Thunder can unlock you. They don't have to do it just one way. They can ground and pound you getting to the rim. They can knock down perimeter shots. They can cut and space and dime you. They can outrun you. It's all a template for sustainability because it doesn't rely on any single thing. The Thunder can have off shooting nights like anyone else, because shooting is one of the highest variance things in basketball. Making and missing is an unstable part of the game, but what you can control is the kind of shots you're consistently getting and the rhythm from which they come. And if you can give good shooters good shots over the course of a season, the math should math and play out in your favor. Here's more Coach Mark. We hopefully have a playbook and a way of attacking that's got enough diversity that if a team is particularly good at guarding it, some teams do handle it well, then we go the other way. We set it with the 5s and we do some off-ball stuff. We want to have enough on the menu that we're able to push the right buttons. But being able to win more than one way, or really even 2 or 3 ways, gives you insurance against that shot-making volatility. And one other thing to note, because the Thunder have been so dynamic, teams are throwing the defensive kitchen sink at them on a pretty regular basis. The Thunder have been zoned more than any team in the league, and SGA routinely sees double teams as soon as he crosses half court. It's basically teams saying, we know we can't stop you, so we're gonna try some stuff. And while sometimes it may feel like OKC is having major issues with it, and they certainly are still learning and adjusting every game, something to keep in mind though, since December 1st when OKC really started seeing these schemes, the starting lineup actually has a higher offensive rating and net rating than it does for the rest of the season. And again, just like we saw last time around, this isn't the final form. There's more to learn, more lessons to be had, more experiences to pull from, and a lot more time to get better. Reminder, second youngest team in the league. There's a lot of time to keep figuring this out, which is, well, pretty scary for everyone else.